Hi, this is Alessio doing this recording for the Leading Trader blog. Today, October 13th. So, what a fantastic week it's been for the bulls here. I mean, they've certainly been ruling the show for the last 7 days. You can see the market rallying, and I put on my Facebook page actually just a few days ago. When the market on the S&P's futures was at 1185, I said, look, if you're shorting, be careful. You may have a surprise move to 1220 region. Okay, and that's, as we can see, that is what happened. We came and tested its previous highs, 1220. So that's where we are at the moment. Okay, so oops, there we go. So the real question is, where do we go from here? Is there any more upside left? I think that given the fact that the markets have had so much momentum here, all right, and I think we should be really careful because you got to be careful right now. Just call it the end or the day for the bulls and say, okay, the market's going to topple over, and it's certainly there's a huge possibility that it can. What I want to see though, I want to see how the market now behaves around this region. So I want to see if they're going to have a close above it. But what I really think is going to happen is that we're going to have a tremendous amount of uncertainty around these areas. So the bulls and the bears are going to fight it out between them now in this region. That's going to be really interesting to watch in the next few days. So, I mean, if you just look over here, the volume underneath here is pretty weak, right? I mean, really, there wasn't a tremendous amount of volume pushing this up. But here's something interesting I want to show you right now. If you go on a weekly chart, just go on a weekly chart of the S&Ps, and you can see this double bottom here. Okay, so we have this nice, which is usually a reversal bullish pattern. Okay, but if you just cast your mind back to 2008, all right, let's go back to 2008, and notice the same interesting pattern happened just before the major meltdown, before the market really, crashed. I mean, look. You had just before April 2008, you had this double bottom. Probably could have done a little bit better, but anyway. So you had this double bottom, and then the market rallied, tested a 50-day moving average, this white line you see here, on the weekly charts, by the way, this is the weeklies, and then toppled over. Okay, so the real question is there, and by the way, the MACD here, you see the MACD also was turning positive here, but the end game turned out to be a victory for the bears, as you can see. So going back to our situation right now, is it possible that the market is going to come and test the 50, okay, at the white line? That would put a 1250 region here, 1250, 1240, that kind of region here, okay? So there may still be more surprises in store for the bears, so you've got to be careful still when you're shorting. But ultimately, there is a probability that the history could repeat itself once again. So we could have a bit of a rally to the 1250 region, and then of course start to topple over. So this is going to be a really interesting period here. Also, as I mentioned before, and I've said this before as well, on the monthlies, the momentum certainly is getting really weak. I mean, the stochastics on the monthlies have already turned bearish, negative, and the MACD here has turned negative. Again, stochastics usually turns negative sooner than MACD, so this is usually a far more stronger signal when it turns bearish here. Okay, just let me quickly mention gold, because we were talking about it. Let's just go to gold. So nothing really interesting to say about gold, other than the fact that just really lack of volatility in this market. We've had this so far. All we've had is this really tedious sideways channel on gold, right? So the real question is, which way is going to break out, to the downside or the upside? All right. So personally, I'm not really calling this market either way at the moment. I'm not really particularly interested in calling it. I think there's a huge possibility still we can have a test the lows here. Okay. So really just have to wait and see which way it wants to go. And let's not forget that we also have. Okay, so we also have this trend line that's running through here. So actually, it's meeting resistance at the trend line from the highs here. That actually puts it exactly where we are right now. All right, so the real question of whether we can actually break through this resistance, and I guess actually, if you want to look at it this way, right? Yeah. So, actually this trend line, if you think about it, just show it to you here. Yeah. So actually, when you think about it, we were in a channel. So a channel actually. So what could happen is if the market on gold does break through, and actually comes and takes out these lows, and maybe even takes out these lows here at the 1540 region. Okay, although that's going to be a pretty hefty support to break through. Then we could come and test this trend line here. So this bottom line of the channel. I've been saying this also that when you look at the monthly chart of gold, again I mentioned this in a previous video, we haven't really had a test. So gold has been just rallying hard, but we haven't had a test of the 21-day moving average since 2008, right? So is it overdue now? Is it overdue for a test? Because they are pretty much overextended. All right. So markets are irrational. Yeah. The thing is they don't really follow the kind of logic we wanted to, but it'll be interesting to see that. Okay, nothing much to say about silver either. I mean, silver pretty much same kind of situation as gold, just a huge lack of volatility, and just sideways movement here as you can see. So got to be careful. I mean, anybody really who was day trading this would have been chopped out. So I'm still kind of interested to see whether we're going to test these lows. All right, and that's going to be something I'm watching out for. Okay, for a more detailed analysis, you can sign up for the trading alerts by going to leadingtrader.com/alerts, which is also at the top of my page, the trading alerts. And all you do is sign up for the free alerts, which come weekly, and by putting your first name and email address there. Okay, thank you very much.